Item 8, very comprehensive range of carryovers and discussion there. Shall we kick it off, Mr. Drury?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. Part of the draft annual plan submissions, you get external submitters as well as internal submissions. And the internal submissions are put forward by staff for carry forward expenditure and revenue predominantly, but one or two items in there that representing circumstances that have come in after the draft has been put out for consultation and Council needs to consider additional allocations. Mr. Chairman, maybe we should just work through the items as I've set out here. Each one has a recommendation, so each one stands by itself. And also I would recommend that where we get bogged down in one, as in the explanations here aren't sufficient and there's no one in this room that can provide any explanations to meet council needs, that it perhaps be deferred until that group manager can come and present it. And there are some big items here, that's why I mentioned that. So perhaps we could start with Project 179, which is economic development. That's relatively straightforward. There's a requirement for carrying forward 30,000.
Councillor Douglas.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I just wonder if we could distinguish between exactly what you've done between carry forwards, which in my opinion have already been approved. They haven't been approved to carry forward, but they're already in the annual plan currently, and new ones, because I found it quite hard to work out which ones were which.
Oh, okay.
I think sorry, if I may. The only ones we should be dealing with specifically here are the new ones, and the other carry forwards could be handled as a block during the course of this meeting as well, but in their own right.
Yes.
Because when a public reading this would think the staff are having a huge dollop of another go, which is not what you're doing, and you've made that quite clear.
But I suggest we deal with them individually. You raise a good point, but let's deal with them individually, because through questioning, some of the recommended carry forwards, even though they are in this current plan, may change in situ. So, but you do raise a good point. So perhaps if we can be clear, Mr. Drury, on what is new and what is already approved funding.
Yes, we will. Thank you for that, Councillor Douglas. If I could, Mr. Chairman, could I refer Councillor Douglas to the attachments, spreadsheet attachments?
Before you do, Councillor Dick.
I take Councillor Douglas's point, but there's a qualification, and I would really want the question answered in each instance as to whether it is in fact necessary to carry an item forward if in fact there is ongoing budget already there from which this work could be funded. Sure, if it's over and above commitments that are going to be made to the coming year's budget, then it should be carried forward. But if the current year's budget can do the work, you see the point I'm getting at?
Yes, I can, Councillor.
So I'd really want that question answered with each of these carried forwards.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's why it's important that group managers are here to present their case of why indeed they need to carry funds forward, even though there are funds in the current annual plan. So you raise a good point, Mr. Chairman. If I could just go back to Councillor Douglas's point there on the because it is difficult to figure out which ones are which sometimes. The second to last page there, Councillor Douglas, on attachment 1. The fourth column over, we have it's 27. 27 right down the bottom, 27. You'll notice there we've got columns that have carried forwards and adjustment. Okay, carried forwards are indeed in current budgets, and we're asking for them to be carried forward. The adjustment one, which is the fourth column in, is indeed requests for additional funding, and that has an impact to the extent that that is new money. And so you might find that helpful, Councillor.
Shall we try one?
We'll try one. We will. And Helen's here to to talk to the 179 economic development if you'd like to. Oh no, I'm happy to talk to it. I'm happy to talk to it. And okay, I think you're right. It is self-explanatory. There's 30,000 to be carried forward, 20,000 for Massey-related work, and 10,000 for China-related activities. Fairly comprehensive write-up there, frankly.
Could I ask a question just to kick it off? What's the current standing of Business Hawke's Bay? Does anyone know where they're exactly at?
Business Hawke's Bay, as we're aware, has been through a bit of a process in terms of who's employed, I guess. The board's resorted itself. They're in the business of recruiting a CEO right now. There's been a negotiation with the Chamber of Commerce in terms of the Chamber of Commerce role standing alone, Business Hawke's Bay CEO role standing alone, and frankly, I think that's reflected a little bit, albeit it's not a lot of money in our case. Just one or two of the initiatives not moving that fast, hence the carry forward. But the point being is this, that my understanding is they'll have a CEO recruited shortly.
Just could you use your microphone, please?
You've probably got Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more information. In fact, what you told me is news. So I have no interest or pecuniary interest in that. I think there are two issues here. One is the change in status of Business Hawke's Bay. All councils, not just this one, have to be very conscious that it's no longer connected to the Chamber, as I understand it. Therefore, that was the probity and the integrity behind it. And so it is a nothing at the moment, unless it has a legal entity. I don't believe we ought to be. I think we ought to be asking very cautiously to get that organised, even for the funds that are proposed under the agreed deed between this council and the Chamber, because the Chamber's not involved. And secondly, are we proposing to give more money to Business Hawke's Bay for an initiative over and above the 100,000 that's already been agreed? And I see some writing in the paper in regard to China from Hastings District's annual plan, and I just wonder what comes through from that. And the other part, which I'm sure Councillor Dick is more across it than I am, is the regional economic plan, which is a key part of this plan, as much as what we ought to be interested in.
So from that, Mr. Drury, no one is fully aware of the current status of Business Hawke's Bay. Is that what we're hearing?
No.
What would that have any impact on us supporting it? Probably an unfair question.
From my understanding, there is 100,000 in there to support Business Hawke's Bay. But that's for the financial year 13-14, so I mean it's over a fair time period. I mean, it wouldn't be paid out in July, for instance. So they do have time to get their act together.
Councillor D?
Yeah, it's a pity Mr. Bassett Fox couldn't be here.
Is he handy? Okay.
I mean, the Regional Economic Development Plan is somewhat overdue